Welcome, welcome. How are you all doing tonight? Guys, please have dinner. Audio good? Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Nice, nice. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, members. Glad to have you all here today. So excited about this first members live stream. So, thank you all for being a member of the Drippy Gang. And, uh, it's been amazing so far. And I'm excited to, just talk about things in general. Even if there is one member, I'm gonna do this live stream today because I promised if I get 500 likes on my pinned tweet, I'll do it. So I'm doing it now, and looks good. Let's go. So I mean, today is the first time I'm even reading about this company. I just read about this company 15 minutes before starting this. So I don't have a lot of information, and I'm not gonna cover the short report and all those things because there's a lot of information out there about the short interest and all those things. So I'm gonna focus on options analysis, I'm gonna focus on technical analysis, and I'm gonna focus on the macro analysis of this stock. So and you guys, like if you have any questions about this stock or if you have information while I'm sharing this, feel free to post it in the chat and I'll be happy to look because I haven't done a lot of research on it, but let's go first. Yeah, I don't know who wanted Prog, but a lot of people asked me for Prog. Like I got 200 likes on that post itself. So I don't know who asked for Prog, but here we are and doing this. So I mean, it doesn't matter what company is because the process matters here. Uh, yeah, Jason, please can you share your DD again because I cannot like go up here. They have proven efficacy in preclinical trials with an oral delivery. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about all that stuff. So, wait, is there an audio issue now? Can you guys hear me well? Am I audible? Please comment, cause like someone sounds good. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So yeah, let's first look at this chart here. You know, now this stock IPO'd 1st of June 2020. Okay, and it's been in the downtrend since then. You can see here that if you it doesn't even have a Ripster EMA cloud until here because like it takes for a while to get the data for the EMA. And you can see here that it for the first time last month it closed above the CMA, and now it's kind of like support right at the support of the CMA on the monthly. So that's a good sign. 3.4 level, right? And then next thing, let's look at the weekly chart here. Again, you can see here that this is a classic wedge pattern here. So let me try to like unlock this, hide this for a second here. And then so now you can see here that this is a wedge pattern, right? You can see this is a wedge, this is a falling wedge pattern, right? And it just broke out of this wedge. So with us, and you can see the volume here is phenomenal, right? This is a good amount of volume for a stock which is low float stock. I mean, this volume on monthly is almost Let me see how much it is. Yeah, it doesn't show here for some reason. What the fuck? Yeah, but anyway, so hey, welcome. Uh, so yeah, so if you look at the chart here, the chart looks good, like from a monthly perspective. You can look at the RSI here. It looks good because it's above 50. You know, it's above 50. That's good. And then let's on the weekly chart. Sorry, and then this I said, right, the volume is pretty good here. Uh, Apart from that, now let's look at other like another way of looking at this chart. So let's use Fibonacci levels here. So this is the base of the Fibonacci, and this is the top on a closing basis. So now you can see here that clearly it has not closed above this. It has been rejected above the 3.91 level. So 3.91 is a critical level for this because it hasn't closed on a monthly basis. Now let's go to the weekly basis here. It didn't close on a weekly basis as well. You can see here it didn't close above this level, and it got rejected here last time, and it created a new high here. You can see that it created a new high at 4.46 compared to this one. So on a weekly basis, this stock has created a higher high. So that's important because that means that bulls are in control. Now the problem is that it didn't close above that. So when I look at higher high, I see that if the price closed above this level, and it didn't, on a weekly basis, it got rejected and closed below it. So, wishy-washy situation with respect to higher highs. Now go to the daily chart here. Again, now look at the daily chart. I'm gonna remove this levels, and then now let's look at the daily chart from a trend line perspective. So this is looking great. It's on an uptrend here. Fantastic. It's above these EMAs, which is also really good sign. And also this is a flag pattern which usually breaks to the upside with a positive catalyst. So on a daily chart also it looks good, and the only problem is that it didn't make a higher high on 5th of November, but that doesn't mean it cannot make a higher high, let's say after earnings, right? So we're going to talk about what could be the catalyst for the earnings for it to make that big move and stuff like that. So this is the basic TA for this. You can the support area in this case is right here. You can see here that sorry, not support, I mean like a supply area here is right this area. This was previous support, then resistance, and now it's acting as resistance here. So we have looked at this from a supply demand perspective. We have looked at this from a basic TA perspective, and now let's look at the RSI here, right? So when you look at the RSI here, you can see that the RSI created a lower low here, lower low, this lower low here, but the price corresponding to this is higher high, lower high. So lower high and lower low. So this is a hidden bullish divergence, and I have shared this before, so you can go look at hidden bullish divergence. But this is a hidden bullish divergence with respect to RSI. No, this is not a bearish divergence. This is a bullish divergence. Let me show you. So hidden bullish divergence is that price is making higher low, oscillator making lower lows. And it's the same thing here. Our oscillator is making lower low, and our price is making higher lower high. So what that means is that this is a hidden bullish divergence. Now I don't really pay attention to the bullish divergences and all those things, because that change, like earnings can change anything. Earnings can change anything. So it doesn't matter the RSI in this case. Earnings can change everything. But from a TA perspective, this chart definitely looks like it's about to make that next move. And like my profit target, let's say that even if the earnings are good and the reaction is good, right? Like what can we expect? Because I know a lot of you are interested in price targets. So going back to, I'm gonna remove this, right? So first resistance is of course 4.42 level, because it's rejected here, and then the second one would be this level here, which is $5 mark. 5 is also a psychological level, and at this point, like if you calculate from the current price, $5 mark is 50%. Okay, 50%, just from 3.38 to $5 is 50%. Okay, and let's say that the earnings are fantastic, and it's just amazing. So what could be the next level, right? So in that case, the next level would be around this area, uh around 5.5 area, this area 5.32, which is 58%, and then finally 80%. Now I don't think that will happen. I mean, that can happen if the short squeeze happens, and it can go to 100%, 200%, doesn't matter, because once shorts start to cover, that can happen. Now you have to think that before earnings, shorts didn't cover, right? So does that mean that they have the information which we don't have? It's possible that they have more information, and I'll talk about what that could be. So, and like I haven't done a lot of research on this one, so I might, if I quote something wrong, feel free to correct me. We are doing this together, and I'm just trying to show you the process so you can do it for other stuff. But this volume looks great, and you also have to think how much the stock has moved. So from 30th of September, the stock has, I mean, it made a high of 445%. And in how many days? 28 days. 445% in 28 days. That's big number. And then on top of that, 329% is sitting on 329% in 50 in like 40 days. So that's phenomenal, right? That's pretty good. Like the stock has moved a lot already. So the earnings might be priced in already. Like if you got in, let's say around this level, right, 2.88, then I mean, like you are already buying it higher than the price what it was when it broke out from this level here. So it's certainly not a cheap stock in my opinion, given that it has moved 500% in just like a month, 1 or 2 months, right? So keep that in mind. But that also is a positive sign, because that tells me that this stock can move in a day, or in 2 days, or maybe 2 weeks. It can move another 400%, right? If it has done that in the past, it can definitely do it again. So you can look at this from both perspective. Like this is just information I'm trying to give to you guys. Now let's one more final analysis for TA. Let's look at the anchored VWAP, right, from the highs and from the lows. So this is the anchored VWAP, and you can see that it got rejected here, it got rejected here, and then now it's acting as a support, right? So let's say that if it drops after earnings, this would be an area where you can find support. And then, again, like these all areas doesn't matter because the price is way above this. We want to know what's the resistance above, right? So we'll move back now. We will go back to, IPO day. And IPO day also looking good here because now it's acting as a support here. So, and this one, I mean, with respect to the volume, anchor VWAP, it is acting as a support. So that's a good sign. And then finally, let's look at the volume profile if it has, because it needs past data, and now it looks like it has. So this is the volume point of control, and what that means is that most shares were exchanged on this price, which was 2. Loopback period is 200, and what that means is that from past 200 days, this is the price which was most traded one, and it's already way up now. And what the good thing is that if you if you're late, I think I'll record this video so you can watch it later. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but yeah, so I was talking about the volume profile. So now at this point of time, this support is really strong on this stock because you have a EMA support, you have volume shelf building here, and then I told you that in general, like this cluster here, this was previous support and now it's acting as support again. So definitely a strong support area here. So a lot of people are holding here, holding the support line. So I mean, this is all I have to say about the TA. I think if I have to rate this chart with respect to TA, I would say it's like 8 to 9 out of 10 as a bullish chart, because I mean, like all the things are really aligning well. Yeah, I know that some people are not happy about the stock which I have chosen, but don't worry. What matters is the analysis, right? And this is a good example of the analysis you can do on like FinTwit pumped stock. Even if it's not a pump and dump, or if it is, you should be able to do this analysis by yourself, and that's my goal, that you can do this. Yeah, I'll go to the Wales data and everything in a minute, so don't worry about that. I'll do option analysis too. So this is the TA analysis, okay? Now let's look at the news for this stock, right? I mean, the CEO changed, and usually, like when CEO changes, um, it can be good or bad news. But a day before earnings, CEO changing is a little bit of a red flag for me. And the reason is that, like, why would they fire a CEO? Why would, like, let's say that you are holding a you have a company, right? Like you are owner of a company, and you have earnings tomorrow, and you, like, what's the reason behind hiring a new CEO, right? Either you have plans for restructuring the company, or the previous CEO was shit and like maybe he messed up, right? So that is kind of a red flag for me. First, this news. Okay, he stepped down in September, had an interim. Right. So why did he step down in September, right? That's something I don't know. Maybe you guys know more. Yeah, so but just from like a earnings perspective, a day before earnings announcing this kind of news is kind of like a red flag for me. But it can be good as well, like it can be good as well, so I don't know. But yeah, anyway, let's look at the other news here. Of course, Wall Street bets and all, everyone are kind of talking about this because this stock has moved 400% in like almost 2 months. So of course it's like talk of the town, um, right? And yeah, exactly. That's a good point, right? Because new CEO will change the company structure and will probably affect the next earnings, and that's what I'm curious about. But we'll see. So let's talk about this company, right? Like, what does this company do, right? So if you look here, this company is basically a oral medication company, which has like some medication in pipeline for in like ingestible stuff for like gastrointestinal stuff and couple other things. So I'm not gonna go in detail because I don't really I'm not really averse into like biotech names in general, but I want to point out couple things which are important, so make sure you pay attention to this. So they were like they were assigned patents for some ingestible therapeutics technologies, right? So if you go through this and you see like what therapeutics technologies they have been like they have been assigned patent for. So what got my attention was this number, like this paragraph here is currently in preclinical development of its lead candidates liquid adalimumab. That's how I pronounce it, but whatever. Like just for now, just pronounces that, this chemical, right? And this got my attention because the company which I researched, AbbVie, is literally has a product which literally like in like like injects this in another way into the body, into the tissues, and this is for psoriasis and old age and stuff like that. Humira, exactly, Humira, you're right. So I'm going to talk about Humira here because this is important. Now look about Humira, right? So if you look at AbbVie's earnings, right? If you look at AbbVie's earnings, which we already have the data for, so that's something which has already happened in the past, and we can compare against to see that like how much of a market cap does this company has, right? And what is this company's plan. So first let me tell you about this Humira, right? AbbVie's patent is expiring in 2023 on Humira, right? And they have another another drug called Skyrizi, which is much better than Humira in pipeline. So if you go through these earnings, I'm going to quickly highlight some things here. So first, we want to know that Humira sales were more than 5.4 billion. Okay, important number, up 5.2% on operational basis, right? And then with 10.1% revenue growth in US. Now, so revenue growth in US increased by 10%, but the international revenue decreased by 16.7%. Now, I don't know if Progenity has international presence, and if that's the case, then they can capture that market. So I don't know if they have it or not. I didn't do that research. And then next thing I want to tell you is this line. So Skyrizi is the next version of Humira for them because their patent is expiring in 2023. And what that means is that if their patent is expiring in 2023, they cannot capitalize on the gains because now it will be patent free, and then other labs and anyone can produce that. That's my understanding so far. So they have created another one called Skyrizi, and they talk about how Skyrizi is like a much better solution than, and like look at here, we are preparing for the global launch of Skyrizi in arthritis as we near approval is in both US and Europe. So it's not just US and Europe, so international market as well. So if Progeny is if Progeny's Genity is one step behind, because they're still using the old solution, right? And on top of that, the efficacy of the oral solution is much lower than the injected one. I'm assuming that, I don't know, but I think that makes sense, because ingestion is always less effective than direct injection, right? So yeah, so that's something I wanted to point out, that like Humira is old news maybe, and investors want, right, it's not oral pill but an oral delivery service. Jason, do you mind explaining what's the difference? Sorry, I'm not really averse in biotech terminologies, but feel free to explain, okay? Yeah, so that's what my thought process is, like like if this drug is for some reason, like an old drug, and like in biopharma everything is about new stuff, like advanced stuff, right? And their new whatever, this solution is better than the old one, that will become the state of art real quick. Progen's product will be a potential replacement for Humira, right? But potential replace for a old drug, and Skyrizi is a new one which is much better than Humira. So you're comparing against a state of art in the past, and now it's a new one, right? Okay, efficacy goes up. Okay, I see. Okay, well, I'm not really aware of it, but thanks for correcting me. Um, but yeah, I think this is something to consider, right? That now the two things I want to bring out is, first is that I don't want to waste a lot of time on this, is that first, that this is important number 5.4 billion, right? If Progeny can get even like 1/10 of that, that's right, like 20% of this, right? So that's $1 billion. And the company's float, I don't know what's the market cap, let me check here real quick. Yeah, so market cap is like $500 million, right? So if they can earn $1 billion in a revenue, um, that's amazing. But of course, that's not happening in this earnings. They're still in preclinical trial phase. So 2023, 2022 is the target for that, right? So yeah, sure, long term it might be a good hold, but I don't know like if this earnings is gonna pump the stock all the way until it's like maybe it's short squeezes and goes up. But with respect to like pure earnings, I don't know. Like I don't think that really they have anything in pipeline which they're selling right now. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, so again, it's a speculative stock because they don't have a solution which people are using as of now. Um, okay, so next thing I want to talk about is look up OBDS. It's a pill that delivers and you. Okay, I'm not gonna. Yeah. Anyway, guys, like so, like we can talk about macro for a long time, but I just wanted to bring out these 2 points, that they have competition, and AbbVie is a big company, and they are already preparing for the next Humira. So that's important to consider for a new bio company. I mean, so another thing to keep in mind is that AbbVie is in a position to acquire these companies, right? And that could be a catalyst in future. I don't know now, but that could be a catalyst for Progeny. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's something to consider. you know the big companies can acquire these small pharma companies, and this like that could be a good catalyst anyway. I don't know if that will happen, of course, who knows. But let's look at the flow analysis for this. So we have covered technical analysis, we have covered uh, the macro analysis, and now let's look at the flow analysis, right? So here, really quick, I want to show you guys first that I have here Prog. The time I have selected is from 27th of October to 3rd, which is today. Oh, sorry, I should have done ninth here. One sec. Where did it go? Wednesday too. So I'm gonna do here, right? And now let's look at the premium here. So oh, sorry, another thing I wanna show you guys is that premium I have done is 50,000 here, and this is basically I'm targeting whale money here, and these filters are all default. DTE range is 1, which basically means here that the contracts are still not expired yet, because since I'm doing 2 weeks of analysis here. And then finally everything else is unchecked, right? So now just looking at this kind of data here and you look at the chart, right, it's literally not telling us anything because it's 50%. So we have to dig deeper to analyze what's going on. Like this doesn't tell me anything, if it's this one is 60% bullish premium, looking at the last 2 weeks of data, right? And then you can see here what strikes they are targeting. You can see here that for 19th of November, which is next week, I normally do out of money, but they don't really have out of money calls a lot. But I'll show you out of money as well to give you an example. But there is not a lot of like difference between these. That's what I don't like. What I look for is a spike, like a huge difference between the red and the green, because that tells me that there is a huge contrast that's unusual. But this looks like a normal, like like how you have normal price action. This looks like a normal flow, and for an equity. So let's look at the out of money, right? So once you look at out of money here, you can see that things are not the same anymore. And I want to bring out one more thing before I show you that. But look at the premium here. This premium is nothing, specifically in breakdown by strike, right? Could you please explain your question? I didn't understand what you mean by that. Um, when you look for a big gap, yes, exactly. When I look for a big gap, I'm looking for like a spike, either on a strike, or I'm looking for just in general comparing these two charts if anything is unusual. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Gap input call volume. Yeah. Yeah, like if a chart is not looking usual to you, that means that like you see a pattern, and then like you compare it with the put pattern versus call pattern, and you see that they don't really match together. That's unusual, but in this case it's not the case. Yeah, cool. All right, so now look, first thing I want to tell you guys is that this premium is nothing. Like $400,000 for an earnings play. If I mean, if someone knew anything about this, then they would put a lot of money, because that's what I've in my experience I have seen. But and also this was not really on 8th, where like this was on 27th, and these are sold calls, which is even bad. That means, I mean, this is for like um, a $1 strike, which was on 27th. So these are sold calls, but this is a lot of raw data. Let's look at the chart again for out of money calls. Right. So again, 60% bullish, and again, if you look at this chart, doesn't really tell anything of significance to me. That's not something I will even consider for me to be like interested in this. Um, Yeah, you need to check the time frame. Yeah, so you need to reset. That's correct. There is some kind of memory in that, like an inbuilt memory. So you need to reset it, right? And the way to do that is to reset from here. You click this, uh, and even that sometimes doesn't work. So keep in mind that this time here sometimes is just random. I think it's a bug, but you have to manually set it to 0, and then to this to 23, so to get all the data. Okay, keep that in mind for next time, because sometimes you'll think that the data is missing, but that's not the case. um, Now let's look at the historical flow for Prog. Uh, so now the average volume is 113K for 30 days, okay? And you see here before earnings, there's nothing of significance here. This is below average, it's like half of that. So again, not something which I am looking for. I'm looking for increase in volume. Now, this one day it had 112, which was average, and it ran up 15% on that day, and the premium was 58% bullish premium. But overall, this is of no significance to draw a conclusion. Uh, and then finally, like I wanna show you the the this page here first. So you can see that insiders are acquiring shares here, but this is a old data. This is 2019, not useful for us. What I want to show you is this intraday section to kind of give you an idea of the open interest here. Again, these are sold calls, bearish. And you look here, the open interest for a $4 call here is 32,000, and this is not just bought calls. How I think these are sold calls as well. And the way we can check that is go back to the live flow, and I'll show you how to correlate this information and find out if it's a buy or a sell. But overall, like this 7.5 for 19th is open interest is 29,000 contracts here. So this is probably retail money in my opinion, and we're gonna verify this real fast. But these are not a lot of contracts for me to get excited, but just something I just noticed here was that this 7.5 was odd for me, which is way out of money, right? But if you go in on the live flow section here, and again I changed the range to last month here, and I also changed the premium down to 500 just to kind of lock the strike to 7.5 to see if it's sold calls or bought calls, right? And change this to calls, yeah, and then sort by premium, right? So yeah, I mean, like this was on 28th like, oh, this was on 28th, and you can see that this is a $7.5 call, underlying is 3.8, and this is 1,000 and then $55,000 order. And then there was another one here, and then there's 3 orders here. So this is definitely interesting because this was on 27th, then 28th, right? And if you look here, when was the run up? Run up was on 15th, on 4th of November, right? So someone definitely got made a lot of money on this one because these are out of money calls, right? Where did it go? Yeah, so but on 29th you can see that these calls were sold. So we don't know if these calls, but I can definitely see that there's definitely on 27th and 28th there is some kind of $7.5 calls being purchased here for small orders, 30,000, but still, like, but I still see like selling pressure here. And overall, let's look at the chart here. It's still bullish chart, and you can see here that the bullish premium for 7.5 is for 19th is much larger than the bearish premium, right? So that's something I have curiosity for, the gap here. But here you cannot really see much because it's just one strike. But again, you can see the heat map here, and with respect to the heat map, like bullish premium is 380 grand, and the bearish premium is 190. Now this is not something I really consider to be big money. It could be like some retailers who know about this. So definitely this is definitely something is gets my attention. Uh, just because, like, it's 7.5 call is way out of money for this stock, because if you look here, 7.5 from current price is 100%. So these guys are expecting for it to go 100%. We don't know that. How do we know that call wasn't closed already? Because those open interest is still open. It's open interest. What that means is it's open. Uh, you know, this open interest here. This tells us that these calls are still in place for $7.5. What does that big difference in premiums on calls versus puts tell me? That the bets are in favor of skewed in favor of calls. You know, like let's say that you are in a you're watching race horses, right? And you bet on a horse to win a race, and someone is betting on another horse, and I bet $100,000 on horse number one, and someone bets $50,000 on horse number two, and so it's just like the chances are in favor of that, because maybe that person knows that horse is gonna win. So it's just like, just go with the flow. That's what this is about, right? Go where the big money is. But in this case, there's not a lot of difference for me to even consider if it's a big money or not. Anyway, not gonna go much in depth on this one, but it's definitely something to keep in mind for this one, right? And then finally, what I want to talk about is the most important thing which you guys need to consider before even going into buying options for this. Um, yeah, puts are generally more expensive. That's true, because everyone is trying to protect the downside, so they always hedge against the puts, hedge with the puts, right? Yeah. So so this is an example of what I wanted to show you. This is the OPC calculator here. What I did was I put a long call here, and $3.5 call here for November 19th expiry. Okay. And now this kind of shows you, like, if a stock moves 34%, then your contract will be up 144%. Now take a look at the IV of this stock. First of all, you know we are looking at the implied volatility is 270%. So that means that a move is already priced in options premium. Okay. And this is way too high. Like, average implied volatility for, like, if for me to even buy a contract would be less than 80, right? Unless it's earnings play, and this is earnings play itself, but even then this is way too high. And what that does is affect your profit levels here. um, so if the stock, let's say, goes to $6, right? We talked about $5 mark, right? So if it goes to $5, the stock will be up 47%, and your contracts will be up 200%, which is, like, not really a good risk reward, because, like, in Tesla's trade today, we made 400% in 5 minutes, and for us to put the money on that, and it chances of it going up 50% is low. Okay. And let's say that even if it goes 93%, right, then we are talking about a $500 500% profit, which is solid. Okay. So, and then of course the risk is high, because if the stock is down 20% after earnings, right, your contracts are down 50%, and that's just considering fixed IV, right? If IV will crash, and then it's gonna go even lower. Okay. And this is the profit potential table, and now you can look here clearly here that this here on the left side is the price. So $4 is 17% away. $4 is 17% away from 3.44, and this is 34% away, 52% away. Okay, and these are the potential profit targets for tomorrow if you have the November 19th strike of 3.5 call. Okay, I'll answer your questions in a minute, but so if the stock goes to $5, let's say, then we are talking about 200% profit potential. If it drops 18%, we are talking about 51% loss. So risk reward in this case is, uh, let's say that you are willing to lose 50% of the money. So risk reward we are talking about here is, um, like let's assume that we are talking about it goes to $5, right? So 200, like 4-to-1 risk reward is not, I don't know, like I don't think I will play 4-to-1 risk reward. Like most of my plays have 10-to-1 risk reward. um, okay, so what's the question? Does lower IV equal to lower potential profit? No, that doesn't mean that. IV is high, so your potential profit is low because the implied volatility means that it's implicit in the premium itself. So premiums are not gonna move that much, uh, if the underlying move much. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the most important thing you need to be aware of. So if you were in the option contracts, let's say a week back, maybe the IV was low and you could have made money just on the IV spike, but getting it tomorrow, I don't really know. It's like I don't think it's a good risk reward play personally. So my opinion is to just like stay away because it's just too risky. Like first earnings, and on top of that, risk reward is 4-to-1. I'm not gonna like put my money in. If you really want to YOLO, sure you can, but you know, go for it if you really want to. I'm not gonna play this. I have much better risk reward plays right now for me. So definitely, uh, not really looking forward, but definitely, this name has been talked about, I guess, by a lot of people, and I just wanted to give you my perspective on it. So let me know in the comments, like, what do you feel about this? If you guys like this kind of analysis, or if this was boring, because it was definitely kind of a stretch. Uh, but if you guys learned something, and if you think that it helped you to understand like how these things work for a stock like this, and why I don't trade stocks like this, let me know. Okay. um, but overall, I'm excited to kind of see what happens tomorrow. And yeah, I didn't like it, I told you before, but I just wanted you guys to understand why I didn't like it. Okay, that's good. Of your picks the same way. Yeah, I mean, I would like to do one of my picks. Oh, dark pool. Yeah, let's look at the dark pool as well. I'm not a dark pool expert. I would even say that I'm not. I don't even know much about dark pool, to be honest. So I can show you what's going on, but I just don't know. I don't really know the analysis behind it. So I apologize in advance for it. I'll try my best to kind of understand that once I have some time. But when we look here, the dark pool data here, like I don't really see a lot of volume here. Like it's lesser than the relative volume around the previous dates when the price was surging, but now it's actually low. So yeah, I don't really know what to make of this. Yeah, I'll try to save it. I don't know if I can save it for public, but I'll try to save it. Yeah. Okay, guys. So, uh, I think I'm gonna go do other stuff. But yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. You know, thanks for hopping on. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna drop off. If you have any other question, let me know now in 5 minutes. 2 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. But otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna just quickly create a poll here. Can you answer this poll? Good night. Yeah. Yeah, I'll check. I'm not doing flow requests right now, so I'm kind of tired. Awesome. All right, guys. Have a good night. Love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not taking chart requests today. Sorry. I'm super tired. Been working whole day. All right. Good night. Love you all. Bye. Bye, gang.